coverage, especially for your attention to the epidemic situation in Guangzhou City. And today, considering the request from the media, we have invited a number of guests to attend the press conference, including the representative from the Municipal Health Commission, the Public Security Bureau, the Municipal Market Regulation Bureau, Municipal Judicial Bureau, and also an expert from the Guangzhou Medical Hospital to attend the press conference, and they will address your questions as well. And later, we will also have a number of guests joining us online, people in charge of the Education Bureau, and people participating in the anti-epidemic fight in Liwan District and Nansha District, and they will brief us on the latest situation in these two districts. First, I would like to give the floor to Madame Chen Bing, the spokesperson from the Municipal Health Commission, to brief us the latest situation in Guangzhou. Friends from the media, good morning. Now, I would like to give you an update on the current situation in Guangzhou. On June the 7th, from 0 o'clock to 24 o'clock, 10 new cases reported in Guangzhou. All these cases are found from local screening. Among mass testing, we found 3 cases, 7 cases from the close contact screening, and 4 cases are termed from the asymptomatic cases reported earlier. For the 10 new cases reported yesterday, 7 in Baihedong Street in Liwan District, 1 in Dashijie from Panyu District. And all these cases are related to the infection in Baihedong Street of Liwan District. So the recent identified cases are all related to the Baihedong Street of Liwan District. In order to cut off the transmission chain and manage the key population, for Baihedong Street, we have transferred some of these people living in the Baihedong Street to designated area for medical observation. We want to identify the positive cases as soon as possible and reduce the risk for community transmission. So from May 26, altogether, Guangzhou reported 108 local cases, 98 confirmed cases, 10 asymptomatic cases. All of these cases are sent to number 8 hospital for observation and treatment. Second, I would like to give you an update for the mass testing. We kicked off the mass testing from May the 26th. We have done a lot of work to expedite the nucleic acid testing and improve the speed and efficiency of the NAT. As of 24 o'clock of June the 7th, we have collected samples of 27.9 million people, and we found 40 positive cases. And start from the past few days, with mass testing, we found 10 positive cases, 10 in Nansha District, and 7 from Liwan District. Today is the second day for the National College examination, and June the 7th, we collected environmental samples in the test rooms, altogether 1,778 samples. All these samples tested negative. I would also like to give a reminder to the residents who are living in the nearby regions to those key regions. We have done disinfection to those key communities. And in the Main Street Internet Network, and also we publish our testing results. I would also like to make an appeal to the residents. In the past, if you have visited some of the mid-risk regions and high-risk regions or key public facilities, make sure that you report yourself to the local community. At the same time, please mind your own prevention and control measures, and make sure you receive the nucleic acid. Make sure you take 2 tests within 3 days. When necessary, please coordinate with the CDC Centers for the Epidemiological Investigation. And also, I would like to send out a reminder to people who are living in the low-risk region. Sometimes if you're developing some of the symptoms, for example, sore throat and coughing, fever, sore muscle, or diarrhea, please pay attention to your symptoms. When you are minding your own hygiene, please visit the nearby hospital for treatment and do not travel to other districts. Second, make sure you make appointments before you go to the hospital. For people, if you are not having the fever, make sure that you make an appointment from WeChat application or the hospital's public account to make an online appointment. And please show up at the appointed time to avoid gathering. If you are having a fever, make sure that you visit the fever clinics to receive some of the treatment. Third, pay attention to your health code. Before you visit the hospital, make sure that you check your health code. For the health code of the children and elderly people, they can be checked through their family members. Before you go to the hospital, make sure that you print out your QR code of the health code, and only one person is allowed to accompany the patient, especially for the children and the elderly people. So when you are developing some of the symptoms, for example, the coughing and the sore throat, make sure that you visit the nearby hospital for treatment. So when necessary, please stay at home and do not go outside. Fourth, make sure you exercise.
如果是选择公共交通工具前往呢，还要途中要尽量避免交谈。整个就诊的过程中要注意手卫生，接触公共设施和就诊结束以后呢，要用肥皂或者流动水洗手。第五呢是看病结束以后不逗留，就诊结束以后呢尽快返回，不在医院区域或者是人群
When you are finishing your journey in the hospital, make sure you go back home immediately and do not stay in those densely populated areas. Once again, I would like to remind to all the residents during the epidemic, when you are seeking medical service, make sure you abide by the prevention and control measures published by the government and the hospital, and exercise all the prevention and control measures. So by taking this opportunity, I will also want to educate some of you on some of the regulation and laws in China. So according to the PRC law on infectious disease, for all the individuals and groups and the companies, when necessary, especially when you're developing some of the symptoms or you are infected with the infectious disease, make sure that you cooperate with the clinics to provide samples for testing and to stay at home for quarantine when guided. Cooperate with the medical centers for epidemiological investigation and provide your travel history to the medical institutions for further studies. And if you are identified as a close contact or secondary close contact, make sure that you stay in the quarantine site. According to the regulation, please fulfill your duties and provide accurate and detailed information for people who are doing the epidemiological investigation. If you are violating the laws and regulation, you may bear some of the responsibilities and the legal liabilities. If you are concealing your information and do not cooperate with the epidemiological investigation, all of these are considered as the illegal acts. So please cooperate with the medical institution so as to contain the spread of the epidemic. And if you are violating some of the laws, the Public Security Bureau have the right to investigate and handle some of the cases and issue penalties to some of these illegal acts and persons involved. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Let's stay united and exercise all the prevention and control measures and to contain the spread of the virus and win the battle against COVID-19. Thank you for Madam Chen Bing's introduction, especially for the current progress for the nucleic acid testing. And once again, the Municipal Health Commission also gave us some of the reminder. For example, you have to mind your own hygiene and also to pay attention to your health code and make appointment if you seek medical help. And these few days, in different media outlets, we can feel this time the Guangzhou residents have been stay united, and they can feel the importance of epidemic prevention and control, and especially they are paying a lot of attention on the things they have to do during the epidemic. For example, yesterday in the Canton Tower, we are seeing some of the slogan. For example, we have to be proactive in the prevention and control, and also to mind our own hygiene and safety. And just now, Madam Chen Bing also gave us a concise introduction about the prevention and control measures. And today, if we look at our guest, you could see we have a special guest here to give us more introduction about the regulations. Now, I would like to give the floor to the deputy from the Municipal Public Security Bureau to give us an update. Friends from the media, good morning. Since the outbreak of the epidemic, the whole city has stayed united and abide by the regulation of the prevention and control measures. They are fulfilling their duties. They are using their real concrete actions to fight against the COVID-19. However, for some individuals, they are not abiding by certain rules. They are not wearing masks. They are not cooperating to provide specimen for testing. And when they are staying at home for quarantine, they are also violating the rules. And some of these cases will be penalized by the Public Security Bureau. I would like to give you an update for 6 cases. The first case is about for a specific individual. He or she conceal her travel history and not cooperate with the epidemiological investigation. And this person stayed in Panyu district, and he or she visited his family members in Liwan district. Actually, his family members were confirmed as the COVID-19 cases earlier. And for this specific individual, and later on, she was identified as a positive case because she developed the symptoms such as the coughing and the fever, but she never disclosed her travel information to the medical staff. So, however, later on, when we checked the information from her parents, we found she is actually one of the close contacts of the confirmed case. And then she will actually pass the virus to the secondary close contacts. And this person is actually violating the law on penalties for public security and also violating the number 6 notification published in the Panyu Street. And on June the 2nd and June the 4th, she developed symptoms such as coughing and fever, and she failed to abide by the number 9 notification published by the Guangzhou Municipal People's Government, and she did not disclose her travel history in the past 14 days. And this person was arrested by the public security law. And the second, we also punish 2 cases that's spreading out rumors. So this has happened in Yuexiu district. We found on certain companies in their public accounts, they're actually publishing some of the false information on their WeChat account. This will disturb the social order. So right now, the Public Security Bureau has already arrested the person who have published this information. Case 2. On May the 31st, Mr. Xu also fabricated one information saying that one of his roommates was contracted with COVID-19. This is because for this person have some personal conflict with her roommate. So that's why he fabricated this information. And this will also disturb the social order. So right now, Mr. Feng was arrested by the Public Security Bureau. And the case 3, we found some people are not cooperate with COVID-19 testing. So we are working together with the 3-person task force, and we found one person who was staying in the hotel. Mr. Xiao is not able to cooperate with the nucleic acid testing. And this was happened in the Chonghua district. So later on, the public security officer have read out relevant regulation and notification to Mr. Xiao. However, Mr. Xiao do not want to cooperate. And the Security Bureau has already arrested this person in suspicion of attacking the police officers. 4th case, we also found 2 cases and 2 people leave the quarantine site on their own without permission. According to the regulation number 13 notification, so for certain districts in Liwan district, they are not allowed to travel outside of their dwelling places. Mr. Xu wants us to leave the dwelling places. According to the notification number 13, he is not allowed to leave his dwelling places, and the police officer also gave a lot of reminders to Mr. Xu, but he refused to abide by the regulation, and also he used weapons to beat up the police officer, and the Public Security Bureau has already arrested Mr. Xu. And the second case is Mr. Xu from Zhongnan Street. And for the Public Security Bureau in Zhongnan Street, they found 3 people leave their dwelling places without permission. And actually, what they have done is already violating the regulation from the number 15 notification published by the leading group on epidemic prevention and control. Right now, these 3 people were penalized by disturbing the market order. So I appeal to all the residents to cooperate with the epidemiological investigation for people who are not cooperating with the government work and also violating relevant prevention and control measures. The Public Security Bureau will check and investigate these cases and impose penalties when necessary. Thank you very much for Mr. Yang Bingsheng's briefing. And right now, many people are paying attention to the prevention and control work in Guangzhou City. And just now, Officer Yang has gave us a lot of updates for some of the cases violating the regulation. For example, some people, they are hiding their travel history, and some people are spreading out rumors. And also some people still not cooperating with the nucleic acid testing. And some people are leaving their dwelling places without permission in high-risk and mid-risk regions. I think at this critical time, we have to consider the overall interest and abide by the prevention and control measures in Guangzhou City. Next, I would like to invite the Chief Engineering from the Municipal Market Regulation Bureau to give us an update. Friends from the media, good morning. In view of the epidemic situation in Guangzhou, our bureau will continue to monitor the market price, and we will impose penalties to illegal acts such as the price gouging, stock hoarding, forced selling, and illegal acts that are violating the regulations or marked price. At the same time, we also monitor the food safety issues. And right now, I would like to give you some of the updates on our work in monitoring the market price. First, we will step up our efforts to monitor the market price to maintain the market price. On June the 3rd, our department have been published a notification on strengthening market price regulation. We analyze the situation, and we understand that for certain regions, there may be some price raising in the oil, meat, vegetable, and the flour, etc. So we will continue to monitor the price in key aspects and the key regions. For example, if we found some of the price gouging and activities that are disturbing the market price order, we will have zero tolerance and impose penalties. From May the 18th to June the 17th, we have handled 6 cases that are violating the regulation. So for some of the illegal acts, I would say there were certain types, for example, the price gouging, the forced selling, and also some violation of the regulation on marked price. On June the 3rd, according to a whistleblowing from the local residents, we are finding one of the vegetable is the price for the vegetable is quite high, and the average price is 3 times compared to the average price in Guangzhou City. We are seeing that this kind is a illegal act. It is related to a price gouging issue, and the Liwan district immediately imposed penalties to certain vendors. And today we will also publish 6 illegal cases. We also hope the residents can monitor the situation. If you are not sure, if you found some illegal acts, make sure you dial the hotline for reporting, the 12345 and 12315. And since May the 21st, we have organized special task force to work with a number of online and offline vendors and making sure that we can provide sufficient daily necessities to the local residents. At the same time, we are monitoring the food safety, especially the agricultural products. So we are checking the quality of the agricultural products in certain community delivery sites. So right now we have conducted 130,000 times of checking to the agricultural products, and the qualification rate is above 90%. So what we are doing right now is trying our best to make sure that the food is safe before we deliver to the local residents. And also we will work with the local wet market and also some of the e-commerce companies to make sure that all of the goods are safe. We will try to screen out all the hidden risks for the agricultural edible products and making sure that we are establishing a ledger to understand the source of all of those agricultural products. We will also check the quality for the meat, vegetable, and fish to see whether there is some of the fertilizer remaining on the agricultural products. We will do our best to monitor the quality of the agricultural products and daily necessities. And going forward, we will continue to monitor the market price, pay close attention to the price for the meat, vegetable, eggs, and anti-epidemic materials to make sure that we have a healthy environment for transaction. At the same time, we will monitor the food safety under the COVID-19 prevention and control guidelines. And hopefully, in the future, we could provide service support to fight against COVID-19. Thank you very much. Thank you for Mr. Wu's introduction. And just now, the deputy from the Public Security Bureau gave us an update on 7 cases violating the regulation. And Mr. Wu from the Market Regulation Bureau also gave us some of the update on 6 cases that are violating the market regulation. And today we have Mr. Zhang from the Municipal Judicial Bureau to give us more explanation about the prevention and control regulation. And once again, he will give us more details about the law and regulation on the prevention and control. Now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Zhang Jianshan from the Judicial Bureau. Friends from the media, good morning. Since the outbreak of the epidemic, the Judicial Bureau has exercised our duties, and the Judicial Bureau has established a special task force and formulate the prevention and control regulation in accordance with the national guidelines. We have verified and reviewed all of the articles and items in the prevention and the control regulation so as to provide a legal foundation for us to fight against COVID. So now I would like to give you more introduction and explanation about the prevention and control regulation. For the COVID-19 prevention and control regulation, will follow the basic laws and regulations at national level as well as the state, the regional level. And all of these regulations and laws compile the prevention and control regulation. So, of course, we will also refer to some of the international convention. We are also referring to the National Disease Control Regulation and the Law on Criminal Crimes. We are also referring to the Emergency Response Law and the Law on Penalties for Public Security. And also we are referring to some of the local regulation for reference. Since the outbreak of the epidemic last year, the National People's Congress has also published a decision on regulating the prevention and control measures in China. And for Guangzhou City, we have set up a municipal task force on fighting against COVID-19 prevention and control. We also release a number of notifications to regulate the prevention and control measures. And some of these measures have been sent out to the regional NPC party for approval. So for the commanding center and the leading group on epidemic prevention and control has already published 18 notifications. All of these notifications have passed the review and approval of the Judicial Bureau of Guangzhou City, and start from May the 29th, the leading group on epidemic prevention and control has published 6 notifications to regulate the traffic control and the prevention and control measures by regions and level of risks. And right now, some individuals, they are violating the notifications that has been published earlier. According to the number 12 notification of the National Disease Control Regulation, for all the individuals and the social groups in Chinese mainland, they are subject to the testing quarantine when required. According to Article 31, once some of the individuals are identified with suspected cases, and these people should report themselves to the nearby hospitals and the fever clinics. For those people who are not abiding by the regulation, we will impose penalties to those people. So for the close contacts, for the confirmed cases, even though they're not developing some of the cases, symptoms, they still need to cooperate with the government and to exercise home quarantine or compulsory quarantine. And if these people are not cooperating the work with the health and medical experts, according to the number 50 of the law on penalties for public security, these people are subject to receive penalties. And if they're offending the officials' work, they also need to receive some penalties according to the Article 27 of the criminal law. For people who are spreading rumors about the epidemic and disturbing public order, according to number 25 of the law on penalties for public security, they also need to receive some penalties. And if these people, they're not cooperating with the mass testing and spreading out rumors, who are jeopardizing the public safety, according to the criminal law, these people are held accountable. In high-risk regions, for people who are visiting those places or have been visiting those places, if they're not disclosing their travel history or they're not cooperating with the epidemiological investigation, these acts will also jeopardize the public safety. So according to the criminal law, this group of people will also held accountable for criminal and legal responsibilities. And also, we will punishing some of the illegal acts for people who will not abide by the epidemic prevention and control measures. Because these people will pose a risk to transmit the virus in the public. If these people are not cooperate to receive treatment, according to number 330 of the criminal law, and these people will also be held accountable. In the future, our Bureau will continue to follow the guidance of the leading group on epidemic prevention and control, and make our contribution to provide legal support to fight against COVID-19. Thank you very much. Thank you for Mr. Zhang Jianshan's introduction. once again, it is a very detailed explanation on some of the prevention and control regulations in Guangzhou and in China. So today, Madame Chen Bing gave us a lot of introduction about the prevention and control regulations, and just now Mr. Yang and Mr. Zhang, the deputy from the Market Regulation Bureau and the Judicial Bureau, they're actually publishing some of the cases that have been violating the prevention and control regulation. And today we also attach great importance to the prevention and control measures in certain districts. And later on, we will have some guests joining us online. So we will have people from the Liwan district and the Nansha district to join us. And also today is the second day for the college entrance examination. And for the first day, everything went smooth. And of course, people will also attach great importance to the situation of the college entrance examination. So first, we will have a guest from the Liwan district and the Nansha district to give us an update on the situation of the epidemic in these two districts. So first, I would like to connect Mr. Chen Jun, and actually he is the person in charge from Liwan district. A couple of days ago, actually he attended the press conference to brief the situation. And right now, we attach a lot of importance to the prevention and control work in the Liwan district. And I believe in the past few days, all people in the Liwan district, they spare no efforts to fight against the epidemic. I believe all of you attach great importance of the epidemic situation in Liwan district. And I could see Chen Jun is already with us right now. So I would like to give the floor to Mr. Lin Jun so that he can tell us more about the situation in Liwan district. So thank you very much. So right now for the Liwan district, right now we are rolling out 3 rounds of the NAT. So we have just completed the 3rd round with about 540,000 samples collected. And start from today, we will roll out the 4th round of the nucleic acid testing to the local streets. But of course, we will provide sufficient service support to key streets in the Liwan districts. And for all of the daily necessities will be provided door to door to streets that are under lockdown in the Liwan districts. And also we were working with the online and offline companies to provide more goods to the residents. So right now we have around 160,000 people living in the lockdown area. So right now we could see we are able to buy more categories and more goods to people who are living under lockdown. But for some of the communities, they're quite far away from the central district, so we actually allocated more human resources to provide supplies to those people. So for example, in today, we are adding more shopping malls. For example, right now we are cooperating with the Vanguard shopping mall to provide goods delivery to Zhongnan Street. As for Zhongnan Street's geographical situation is quite complicated, and some of the residents, they don't know their accurate address, so it's very difficult for us to have a door-to-door delivery for those people who are living in the Zhongnan Street. And also we are setting up an information technology system so that we can better track the information of the residents who are living in those high-risk streets. Yesterday, we found some people, they place order online, but they are not able to receive the goods today. So I would like to appeal that before you place the order, please check the inventory. Because for some of the inventory, if they're out of stock, you're not able to place an order. And yesterday, as we can see from the number 18 notification published by the government, we have closed down certain agriculture and trade markets. But right now we are working with those local wet markets. We will have a special task force to collect the request from the residents and deliver the goods to the people who are living in the lockdown area. And today we are also providing nucleic acid testing to 1,200 delivery guys, and all of these people have vaccinated. Hopefully, in the future, we have more people to help with the delivery work. Also, we are trying to use some cutting-edge technology, for example, the UAV and the drones, to deliver the daily necessities to people who are living in the lockdown areas. And also, for some people who are living in the lockdown areas, over 300 households have reported that they need drugs and medicines. So right now we are working with local hospitals so that they will have arranged a special task force to deliver medicines to those households in need. So the People's Hospital in Liwan Street has been converted into a fever clinics, and also we have provided more advanced equipment to the temporary shelter hospital. So in the high-risk regions, we found we have over 2,600 pregnant women. We will also send out the special task force, the expert group, to provide guidance to those pregnant women. As for the college entrance examination, we have set up 2 isolated examination halls. And for high-risk groups of population, we will transfer those people in designated vehicles to make sure that the whole procedure is safe and effective. And right now, we have thousands of medics supporting Liwan Street district. In Shiweitang, we are also setting up a shelter dormitory so that some of the medics can station in that place and to provide the services to the local residents. And also we are providing vegetables and meat to the elderly people who are living alone in the lockdown area. Also, we have hundreds of foreigners who are living in the lockdown areas. We are actually providing equal services to all of those foreigners. By taking this opportunity, I would like to appeal to the members of public. Please abide by the prevention and control measures. Please do not go outside unless necessary. Right now, we have sufficient supply, and also we are improving our delivery services. So do not panic, and let's work together and win the battle against COVID-19. Thank you. Thank you for the Executive District Head, Mr. Lin Jun's introduction. He gave us a lot of updates on the epidemic situation in the Liwan district, and also he told us some of the effective prevention and control measures. And also Mr. Lin Jun just talked about the supply of the daily necessities and also talking about the management of the key population. And also he touched upon the issue about the livelihood of foreigners and also the vulnerable groups, for example, the elderly people and the pregnant women. We could see the Liwan district has mobilized what they have to provide services to the local residents. And if you are following up on the epidemic situation, you could see once Liwan district have this epidemic outbreak, and people from all different other places have raced to Liwan district to show a helping hand. So I would like to ask a question to Mr. Lin Jun. How many hours you sleep every day? So every day I stay up very late and have to wake up early because I have a lot of issues to be resolved. Thank you very much. So for the district head, Lin Jun, just made appeal to people who are living in the lockdown areas to appeal all of these people to exercise the prevention and control measures, and they have to stay at home when necessary. We hope all of us can show understanding, consider the overall interest, and to show support to the medical workers who are working in the Liwan district. Thank you very much for your introduction. I hope soon Liwan district will navigate through the epidemic. Also, I would like to say a big thank you to those who have been fighting at the front line in Liwan district. And also, I believe some people they stay at home for quarantine. Again, thank you very much for your cooperation and thank you very much for staying at home, because what you are doing right now is a contribution for us to fight against COVID-19. So, all right, now I would like to connect the deputy head of the district, the Nansha district, to give us an update on the situation in Nansha district. Thank you very much. Friends from the media, good morning. In order to win the battle against COVID-19, Nansha district has abided by the deployment made by the Interagency Task Force of the State Council and also the Information Office of the Municipal People's Government. We have prepared sufficient supplies and mobilized what we have to provide necessary support to people who are living in the Nansha district. We are making sure that we are able to provide sufficient supply to the local residents in a timely manner. So right now, the livelihood is quite stable right now in the Nansha district. For Nansha district, we have set up a special task force. We're also working with the delivery companies to provide and deliver the daily necessities to the local residents. What we are doing right now is to making sure that all of these daily necessities can be delivered in time and in need. At the same time, we also monitor the market situation. We are monitoring the price, and also we are transferring the commodities when necessary, making sure that the market order is stable. Since the outbreak of the epidemic, Nansha district working with 48 groceries and also working with over 200 delivery companies. We have setting up a 24/7 hotline. We are collecting the request from the local residents. So right now, for the supplies we have been stocking can provide support to over 850,000 people for over 65 days. We have sufficient meat, vegetable, oil, the flour, And all of the daily necessities are sufficient, and also we have a great varieties of these commodities which can meet the needs of the local residents. Third, we have done a lot of work in the delivery. We have identified 2 key enterprises to provide daily necessities and supplies, and they also develop an online application so that the local residents can log on their WeChat accounts and place order on their WeChat. And also we are working with the delivery companies to bring all of those daily necessities to the local residents. And at the same time, we are also using 60 designated unmanned vehicles to transport all of those supplies to the local residents. And we have a local volunteer team to offer the last 50-meter delivery to make sure that all of these supplies can be delivered in time. In the future, we'll closely monitor the epidemic situation in Guangzhou, and of course, we will continue to monitor the market regulation and the market price. We are making sure that we can offer sufficient service support to the local residents. We will monitor the data on a daily basis, and we will work closely with the local companies and enterprises. We need to collect the request from the residents and also to provide the goods that are needed. And we will step up efforts to improve their livelihood. And we will provide door-to-door services to make sure that more goods can be provided to those residents. Third, we will set up a market supervision mechanism. In high-risk regions, we will have a supervisor so that they can check the supply and demand situation. If we see there is a short of stock, we will try to improve our services and support to the local residents. Thank you for Mr. Hui Lixing's introduction about the epidemic situation in Nansha district. He just gave us a brief introduction of the work have been done in Nansha. So we could see since the outbreak of the epidemic, the Nansha district has taken a very rapid response so that they can minimize the impact to the local residents. Once again, a big thank you to the deputy from the Nansha district. We are attaching great importance to the situation in Nansha. Hopefully, in the future, the Nansha district continue to exercise the prevention and the control measures so that we can win the battle against COVID. All right, now we are going back to the emergency center for the college entrance examination. We have a special guest online right now. So today is actually the second day for the college entrance examination. Can you give us some recap for yesterday and give us an update for today? Good morning. So right now I am at the supervision center for the college entrance examination. So behind me, you could see a big screen. For the screen, we could see the examination situation in different examination sites. So right now we are having a meeting to discuss the second day of the college entrance examination. We have departments involved attend this meeting, and also we have a special task force on the college entrance examination. Yesterday, I would like to give you a general update. And yesterday, for the first day, for Chinese, we have over 50,000 examinees attending the exams, and also the same number of people attended the examination in the afternoon. So no examinees show up late. And for people who are living in the lockdown areas, we are actually using 724 designated vehicles and 6 shuttle buses to transport 618 examinees. We are doing a lot of work in the disinfection to the public transportation and all of those designated vehicles. Yesterday, the college entrance examination is taking place in an orderly manner. And also there is a good discipline in the examination yesterday. And yesterday, the deputy governor also visited the commanding center to supervise the situation of the college entrance examination. And especially we are working with the Liwan district because Liwan district is faced with a lot of challenges for the entrance examination. However, they are doing a good job in organizing the college entrance examination. And also the deputy mayor visited some of the examining room in person to monitor the situation. And also he gave a lot of requirements to people who are supervising the entrance examination. And for the Municipal Education Bureau, also set up a task force to have a tour in different examination rooms to make sure that the entrance examination can be taken place in an orderly manner. We are also working with multiple disciplines and multiple departments to handle the emergencies. For example, yesterday we have a very orderly transportation for the students who are coming from the high-risk region and the lockdown regions to the examination site. So now I would like to give you an update on the situation of the examination happened this morning. So by 10:15, the exam have been completed. For physics, we have over 30,000 people attended examination. So for the absence rate, it's about like 2%. It's still in the normal range. We have over 20,000 people actually attended the examination of the physics. And for some people, they attach great importance to the 2 examinees who have been staying in the number 8 hospital for medical observation. And for these 2 examinees, they have normal temperature. And also they have very good sleep yesterday. And for these 2 students, 2 examinees, they think they have give out their best in the exam in the morning section. And also we have another students who are falling into a vulnerable group. We are also providing a lot of support to these special students to facilitate with the entrance examination. So all in all, this year's college entrance examination is taken place in an orderly manner. And in the future, we will continue to do our best to go through the entrance examination and also to make sure that all the prevention and control measures can be implemented effectively. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the deputy from the Education Bureau for his updates. And you could see right now they're having a meeting to monitor the situation of the college entrance examination. And just now he gave us an update on what happened yesterday, and also he gave us a briefing on what happened today for the college entrance examination. And this year, the college entrance examination is taking place at a critical time because we also encounter with the epidemic. And yesterday, you could see some of the senior officials also visited on site for some of the examination sites. They are also providing a lot of the guidance to officials who are working on site. And this year, affected by the epidemic, and for some of the family members of the examinees, they are also showing a lot of understanding for the prevention and control measures. And also, the deputy from the Educational Bureau also touched upon the situation to the two students who previously stayed in the number 8 hospital, but still we have to protect their privacy, and at the same time we should facilitate these two students to attend the college entrance examination. But luckily, he just told us that for these two students, they're in good health condition, and also they're in a good momentum to take up the entrance examination. And also for Guangzhou, they have the local government also work together with different disciplines. For example, the Public Security Bureau and the Transportation Bureau. They have making a lot of efforts for us to facilitate the examinations for the entrance examination. And also, I would like to say a big thank you for the teachers and the workers who have been staying in the examination site. I hope all of you could participate in this college entrance examination and maintain the order of the entrance examination. And just now, we are able to be joined by 3 special guests online. The deputy from the Municipal Education Bureau and district head from the Livelihood district and the Nansha district. And thank you very much for your introduction. And now we are going back to the press conference. So now the Q&A session is open. With Guangdong Broadcasting Center, my question is to Mr. Yang from the Municipal Public Security Bureau. And during the epidemic, and for some of the local residents, they still need to process some of the certificates to gain approval, etc. So what measures have been taken by the Public Security Bureau? So thank you for your question. I appeal to all the members of the public to use the online services, because this year the Public Security Bureau have been streamlining some of our processes for the approval. So right now, 193 government services and items can be processed online. So you don't necessarily need to visit the physical sites to process your application. For certain registration, we are also open our access for online processing. So we are also rolling out the non-contact services to the local residents. Through the online services, we are able to process over 59,000 cases. But right now, you know, the situation is very severe. We want to reduce the cross-infection and avoid gathering. So if you are not that urgent about the government services, please use our online services to process your application. Or you could use your WeChat application or online platform to process your business. If you need to visit the processing hall, make sure that you wear your face mask and check your body temperature, and also present your health code for verification. Thank you very much. All right, thank you for Mr. Yang's answer from Public Security Bureau. And during the epidemic, in order to exercise the prevention and control measures, as you could see, some of the government services have been moved online. So make sure you use the online services. All right, next question. With Nanfang Urban Daily. Recently, for some of the fresh markets and agriculture and trade markets, they're trying to provide supplies to the local residents. So my question is about the food safety. Any measures taken by the market regulation to ensure the food safety? Thank you for your question. In order to exercise the prevention and control measures by regions and level of risk and safeguard the food safety, The Municipal Market Regulation Bureau have done a lot of work. For example, for the vendors, they have to clarify their responsibilities and take out 4 strict measures to make sure there's no incident happened in terms of the food safety. As for the 4 measures, first, we have to check all of the products that have been sourced outside. We have to check the qualification of the vendors and check the qualification of the agricultural products. So every one of these products should have an origin of the source. We have to check the ledger and also the source for all of the meat products. They need to present the 2 certificates and also 1 report to verify that all of the quality of these meats and up to the standard. And especially for pork, they have to be presenting a certificate making sure that this pork is safe and not infected with the swine. And for some of the imported products, we also need to check the disinfection certificate and also make sure that for all of these products are virus-free. So for these imported frozen products, if they are not able to present valid certificates, all of these products shall be delisted or not allowed to go into the market. And also, for the vendors, we will expedite the checking to all of these agricultural products to make sure that there is no residue of the pesticides on those products, making sure that all of those unqualified products will not go back to the market. We will also remove some of the out-of-date products off shelf. And also we will exercise the local regulation, the national regulation, making sure that there's no wild animal meat flowing into the market. Fourth, we are focusing on the procedure management. We need to have all of these vendors to check all of those products on their own. And for the packaging side, should also follow the standard of the national standard. For the workers who are staying on site, they have to wear gloves and a face mask, and also they need to put on a label on all of those packagings to identify the place of origin of all of those food. And for the food vendors, when they're delivering some of these products, they need to use suitable containers to ensure the temperature and the humidity of the products. Especially for the cold chain logistics, we need to make sure that these products will not deteriorate during the transportation. Thank you very much. Thank you for the answer from the Deputy of the Market Regulation Bureau. Next question. With Phoenix TV, my question is to Mr. He. I would like to understand for some of the people, especially they're living in the lockdown areas, they may have some mental issues. So any channels for them to receive psychological counseling, any hotlines to be provided to those people? Thank you for your question. For people who are living in the lockdown areas in the Liwan districts, actually we have set up an emergency center. And also we have a 3-person task force. They will collect the information of the patients and they will channel this feedback to the clinics so that they can provide support and psychological counseling to people in need. And of course, if some of the patients want to visit the clinics in person, they have to present the valid NAT reports. And actually in Liwan district, we are also setting up a mental hospital. And some of these experts are able to provide door-to-door services to provide psychological counseling to people who are living in the lockdown areas. So for people who are not living in the lockdown areas, we have sufficient medical resources. For example, we have dedicated mental departments to provide psychological counseling. And in different districts, they do have this discipline to provide services. And also we have some private hospitals who are able to provide the psychological counseling. Except for the offline services, our residents can actually seek medical help from the online services. In the lockdown areas, they can actually place orders online, and the third-party delivery companies will deliver the drugs and medicines door to door. And second, we do have a psychological hotline. This is opened 24 hours, 7 days, and the hotline is 818-99120. And this hotline will provide psychological counseling to the local residents. So actually, the amount of incoming call has been significantly increased. So on a daily basis, this hotline will receive about 400 calls. So every day, we have over 30 experts stay online to receive the calls from the patients. And the answering rate is above 50%. That's my answer. So thank you for as per Mr. He's answer for your introduction about the service of the psychological counseling. So right now we do understand a lot of people have been living in the lockdown areas. So especially for young kids, if they're staying at home, maybe they're experiencing huge pressure, they may need to receive some of the psychological counseling and comfort their nerves. And this is also a very important issue for all of us. I think if you do need help, make sure that you dial the hotline or visit some of the clinics to receive some of the support from the experts. And just now, we just announced the hotline, the 818-99120. So when you do not feel comfortable, don't worry. Make sure that you dial the hotlines and try to talk to the expert. So in the lockdown areas, I believe many people are under huge pressure. And even though you're not living in the lockdown areas, you may also have different challenges. But all in all, we have to stay united to overcome the epidemic altogether. Next question, please. With CMG, I just noticed that the Public Security Bureau has just reported 7 cases that have been violating the prevention and control regulation. So once again, I would like to ask, what are some of these regulations? For those who are violating the laws and regulation, what penalties will be issued to those people? Thank you very much for your question. Especially right now, we need to attach a lot of importance to the prevention and control regulation in Guangzhou. So your first question is, what are some of the regulations? Actually, just now, person in charge in different departments have already give you some of the details. So I don't want to repeat some of those items. So as for your second question, for those people who are not able to abide by the prevention and control measures or the prevention and control regulations, what penalties will be issued? So first, I would say, please abide by the prevention and control regulation and report your health status. I think this is a responsibility for every individual and every companies. And actually, this is stipulated in some of the national regulation. including the national law on prevention of infectious disease. So for all of these behaviors should be subject to the regulation identified. It is everyone's responsibility to fulfill their duties. So for each one of the individual, you could give up some of your rights, but you have to fulfill all of your duties and responsibilities. And for the prevention and control regulation, actually, if you look closer, you could see certain words. For example, must or shall. For example, for one of the items listed in the law on penalties for public security, it stipulates that for the individuals and the companies, they shall abide by certain rules. So meaning that this is actually an obligation for all the individuals and the social entities. So if you are not able to abide by these regulations, then you may subject to penalties. And for some people, if they fail to report their health status, and these people may receive some administrative or criminal penalties. And for Mr. Yang from the Public Security Bureau just said, for some individuals, they refused to abide by some of the prevention and control measures. Maybe the Public Security Bureau will issue penalties, fines, or even detain these individuals. So these are the administrative responsibility. And also, some of the regulations are actually included in the criminal law, especially when we're fighting against the epidemic and the infectious disease. If some of the individuals, they refuse to fulfill their duties, and they may violate the criminal law as well. According to the judicial interpretation published by the Public Security Bureau and the Judicial Bureau, and some of the illegal acts may constitute crimes that obstructing public affairs or endangered public security. For example, if some of the individuals they are not abiding by the prevention and control measures, they have to assume the civil responsibilities and the penalties. So in simple words, if you are not abiding by the prevention and control measures, and if you pass the virus to other people, the other people may follow the regulation and press charges to the person who are not able to abide by the prevention and control measures. So right now we are at a critical time to fight against the COVID-19. We have to protect the public interest. Personal interest comes second as compared to the public interest. If we look at the Constitution, when individuals they are exercising their own rights, they shall not obstruct other people's interests and rights. So we have to prioritize the public health and the public interest and abide by the prevention and the control measures published by the government. So today we have Mr. Liu Tao from the Legal Department of the Municipal Judicial Bureau. So actually he is a senior judicial expert. At this critical time, you could see we have people from the Health Commission, Public Security Bureau, Market Regulation Bureau, And also we have representatives from the Judicial Bureau and the Department of Justice to attend the press conference. So under such context, you're able to educate the public how to better understand the local regulation. Especially today, I still remember certain sentences from Mr. Liu, and he said, for the individuals, you could give up some of your rights, but you have to fulfill all of your obligations. So indeed, public interest is the top priority. According to the Constitution, when the individuals, when they're exercising their personal interest and personal rights, they should not endanger other people's rights and interests. That's why today's press conference, we have invited so many experts from the Judicial Bureau to give us the explanation about the laws and the regulation. So at this time, I appeal to members of the public